Welcome back. It's another edition of the Face to Ace podcast, or Ace2Face on Face to Ace. I'm so good with naming things, but it's another edition of Jurassic June, where I'm going over every Jurassic Park movie up until the new one, because dinosaurs, yo. And I am joined by the man who actually gave me this idea. Right after we recorded our Superman episode, he said, we should do Lost World. I'm joined by Nathaniel Martin, back at it again, reviewing another bad sequel.
Yeah, I'm back. I hope y'all missed me. Thanks for having me.
This one should be a lot of fun. The three things we have covered this year so far is Superman, Star Wars, and Jurassic Park. We're getting all our bases on the franchise today. And oh man, this one.
You literally just reminded me that there's another Jurassic Park movie coming out this year.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, when you told me about The Lost World, I was like, oh, I'll do that in June before the new Jurassic World movie. Yeah, the soft reboot sequel to it. This franchise is a mess, and it really all started with this one.
Yeah. This is a weird ass movie.
What was your first memory of it? Did you watch this one as a kid?
I think I saw it once as a kid.
This feels like the Lost one, no pun intended.
No, it really is, and people don't really talk about this one very much either. It's just you either like it or you don't even really think about it. It's not horrible. It's not offensive. It's just weird. The first time I saw it, I was at a friend's house, and it was a group of kids that were all the same age as me and my brothers, so there was 6 of us, and we always would do a movie night once a week or whatever. They were big fans of the Jurassic Park movies, Back to the Future, all that stuff. I didn't know that there were sequels to Back to the Future. I thought the ending of the first one was a joke. So they kept showing me the sequels to movies I had already seen and really liked, especially that era of Zemeckis and Spielberg.
Right.
I found out there was a Gremlins 2 at that same time. So yeah, I definitely watched that on a rainy summer afternoon.
I found a quote from Spielberg talking about how he makes sequels to his movies and they end up being inferior because he goes in them too confident. And he wasn't talking about Crystal Skull. He was actually talking about this one. This was a quote from 20 years ago now. This feels like the Lost movie, and not only the Jurassic Park franchise, but in kind of Spielberg's entire filmography. Until, we talked about it, a couple of years ago, when we covered blockbusters and that, I forgot he even directed it. I just figured it was just some random guy. No, I have vivid memories of seeing both Jurassic Park 1 and Jurassic Park 3. And this one, I have more memories of the arcade game that had the Lost World logo on it that was in arcades all across America. I feel like that had more of a cultural impact than this movie, at least in my Gen Z brain.
I mean, if you think about it, this movie is similar in a couple of ways to Temple of Doom, but it would be instead of Indiana Jones being the main character, Salah's the main character for some reason.
Yeah, I wrote this, I think, on my letterbox actually. This is the Stranger Tides of this franchise. They saw this charismatic supporting actor and made him the main character in the sequel. Has that ever worked in any of these movies when they've tried that? I was trying to think of a good example, but all I could think of is I think of Stranger Tides, which is the Pirates of the Caribbean movie people usually dislike the most, and it stars Jack Sparrow instead of him being the supporting.
Right, but the reason why Stranger Tides makes even more sense than this is that it was a bona fide franchise at that point. It was already a trilogy deep.
Yeah.
It's what are you gonna do with this world and this character now? At least that was we already finished the Orlando Bloom, Will and all their, those character stories are over, or at least they were until they brought them back. But then it's their arc's over, so let's just have a Captain Jack adventure. This makes no fucking sense. This is immediately after this starts production. It's Spielberg's next big movie after the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I couldn't believe this came out in 97. Yeah, I was like, what?
It's so odd because, I guess if you look at, Spielberg's, best stretch, it probably is his, early 90s run.
Yeah.
And this is just, kind of in the middle of his 90s run. It's what?
And it's an incredible 90s run where you have, he's winning Oscars for Schindler's List and at the same time making millions with Jurassic Park. And along comes this weird thing. It feels like an athlete that just played 1 year too much, like won a bunch of titles, and then that last year, like, why did you do that again? It felt like a weird victory
So does
lap.
this affect Spielberg's legacy?
I don't think so, because I don't think people think he directed it. Like, Spielberg has done a really good job burying this movie. Like,
it's not even his worst. It's not his worst movie. It's
No.
straight up not.
No. It's weird when I cover Jurassic Park, it's weird that movie is beloved by me and not only everybody else. It's probably not in my top 10 Spielberg movies. Like, that says a lot about the guy himself too. I like a lot of Spielberg's smaller movies, but I really did praise Jurassic Park in the first episode of Jurassic June, and it really all came down to the characters in that. And this one doesn't have that certain feel. Like, you have Ian Malcolm come back. There was no reason why the other characters couldn't. This was a bold choice, I think, and I don't really understand why. Like, this is Jeff Goldblum post, like, Independence Day now. Like, this is now movie star Jeff Goldblum. And I think he phones it in. I don't like this performance at all.
I don't think he's phoning it in. I think he's having a really hard time figuring out how this character is supposed to be the leading man.
Yeah.
Because the way he plays Ian Malcolm in the first movie is he is the snarky and, like, the quippy, like, realist playing off of all these other earnest people.
Now he has to be the straight man.
Condescending dickhead. Yeah, and now he has to have all these other wacky ass characters. Like, the worst stuff in this movie is the hunters. I do not care that there are these, like, dinosaur hunters. They're so stupid. Vince Vaughn is essentially an eco-terrorist.
Yeah.
This movie's weird.
When I thought of Vince Vaughn in this movie, I'm like, okay, I get the casting. You get the guy, he just got off Swingers. He could be the new Ian Malcolm, right? The charismatic actor coming in. But they make him this, like, white knight, like, eco-friendly dude, and I don't have any offense towards that. A lot of stuff he says, I probably would, like, support, but it's Vince Vaughn telling me, so I don't understand that casting choice.
It's a really weird role for him at this time, too. It's like, this is right before he does the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho with Gus Van Sant.
It definitely felt like it was still a guy in Hollywood trying to find his place. Like, he was in that indie movie that took off, and now it's like he's trying to find his thing now. And, like, the theming of this movie too, we brought that up. I praised the first movie's theming of, being God, and there's some heavy themes that I think are more relevant than ever with the use of AI and de-aging. Like, we're still questioning what is morally correct about all this. We just cloned a wolf. So, and I dived into all that. And then this movie, it's not a bad theme, but the theme is nature preserve, and that's fine, but that's it. It's one of those things where it's like, cool, but you're the sequel to, like, a blockbuster that actually has really deep themes, and I think that's what throws me off.
Yeah, I think, like, the themes of the first movie do continue into this one quite a bit with, like, the whole, technology and man trying to play God but still being super naive and not really taking any, accountability for their mistakes. Like, how is Dr. Hammond still able to do this? One, it's crazy he survives the first movie. And then two, it's like, this man's not in federal prison.
You need to hang up that computer call. Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical.
This man's not a criminal? He brought dinosaurs back to life and they killed Newman.
And my favorite line probably from Ian Malcolm's character in this movie is, you went from capitalist to naturist in 4 years. And that's pretty much what John Hammond is, like, trying to propose here. And now he's got a shitty son. But in the beginning of the movie, I read that we see the little girl, the little British family that for some reason stopped on an abandoned island. Why would the crew of that ship let them do that? I don't know. I'm not a billionaire. Maybe this is what billionaires do. They go to this island and the girl gets, like, torn apart by these little dinosaurs, we're assuming. I read in the Jurassic Park book, that's how John Hammond died, which I never knew. So that was taken from the book, but a different victim. victim to that.
Yeah, just kill some random little British girl instead of Dr. Hammond. That's fine, I guess.
Which, compared to the first movie's opening, which is way more terrifying, this one's just so goofy. It's weird. This film is like, the color scheme and everything has this like grayish greenish the whole movie, which I think is fine if you're going for a darker tone, but this one's just as goofy. I don't know why it couldn't have been just as vibrant as the original.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that makes the first Jurassic Park so good, beyond just the visual effects and like the groundbreaking at the time, like CGI mixed with practical effects, I think what really makes that movie work so well as a genre movie is Dean Cundy's cinematography. Like, yeah. I'm sure Nick went on and on about that in the first one that I'm yet to watch, but with this movie, forget the guy's name, but it's Spielberg's like regular DP. He did Schindler's List and pretty much everything since this movie with Spielberg, and that's kind of one of my biggest problems with his style. I mean, there's no expression in a film of this genre with very kind of like flat and typical drama cinematography. I think one of the prime examples of this movie is the cliff scene, because that should be really, really tense. And then like the characters having all these like quippy dialogue moments like kind of takes you out of it. But what really takes you out of it is like the camera being so still and not like dynamic. And like if this was the Dean Cundy one, there'd be a shot of it moving upwards as the characters are slipping down. Like there would be this contrast there. And this looks like just a little too shot by shot, paint by numbers, in my opinion.
I gotta rant about John Hammond a little bit more, because the movie tries the movie tries to paint this as his nephew or son, whatever, and is the evil one, and he does eventually be a dick. But John Hammond knew Ian wouldn't go to the island, so he sends Ian's paleontologist girlfriend on her own to this island, so Ian would have no choice, while like knowing another team full of weapons and like military like things was coming as well, and his only backup plan was Vince Vaughn. To make a wrestling analogy of it, there's a very famous CM Punk quote where he told Ryback, "You're either dumb as shit or you're doing this on purpose." John Hammond is either so dumb or he's doing this on purpose and it actually wanted Ian to die and he was trying to off him.
Yeah, no, I think he is like the ultimate like movie villain. Like he's supposed to be played kind of like sympathetic and like naive and like brilliant but misguided. Yeah. But no, he's just a sociopath. He's like Grandpa Joe and Willy Wonka. Yes. He's just like an absolute monster.
And in the future movies, especially the marketing of Jurassic World, really like paints John Hammond as this like, they Walt Disney'd his ass. Like they really did. That character became what he wanted to actually be in the universe of those movies. He became the Walt Disney of this franchise. And that's nothing against the actor. I think the actor who plays John Hammond does give a solid performance, just like the first movie. He stepped right back into the role. I enjoyed, seeing Ian interact with the kids a little more grown up. I thought that was a nice little scene. The beginning of this movie starts fine. It's I don't know. It's right when we get to this island. And also, Site B is an insane retcon.
Yeah, it is. It is a wild retcon.
Like it's Rise of Skywalker territory.
First movie. Yeah, it's the Starkiller base. Yeah. Site B.
And
that would be like in the analogy you used earlier with Dr. Hammond being this universe's Disney. This would be like if Walt Disney opened Disney World and Disneyland at the exact same time just to see which one would do better.
While having a plan to have one in San Diego that he already pretty much had built too. Like John Hammond, I don't know. And we get to the island. The first like shots of I think it's the Stegosaurus, the one with the spikes. Right away, it's like something's off here. I don't know if it's the lighting, but I just watched the first movie. It's the movie that's older, and I don't feel that with like 90% of the CGI shots. But as soon as I saw these, I'm like, God, they're in front of a green screen, and this looks so fake.
Yeah, did ILM work on this one? I mean, they must have,
I don't know.
Right? It was still Spielberg.
Probably was, yeah.
I feel like ILM definitely. And maybe it was the B team. Maybe everyone else was busy working on, Terminator 3 or something.
It could have been rushed. It comes out in 97. When did Terminator 2 come out? Is that 90... Is that 97?
I think that was 90... I think it was 92. No, 92? I think it was earlier.
Yeah,
I think it was
came out that
I think it was the year before the first Jurassic Park.
Summer 1997 movies. Oh god, Spawn.
Titanic?
Oh, maybe. The Fifth Element, Lost World, Con Air, Batman and Robin, Men in Black. Wow. George of the Jungle. Interesting. Air Force One. This looks like how this summer, like how 2025 summer's wrapping up, where it's like,
well, there's some good movies there. Con Air and Air Force One.
What's
this summer's Con Air?
It's kind of, might be F1.
Maybe. We're gonna find out.
Yeah, the CGI just hasn't aged well, but they do find Sarah, which Jeff Goldblum does the funniest yell in this movie when he goes, Sarah! Like, what was the direction of that yell? It went, Sarah! But it was still in this monotone voice. It didn't sound like a guy, like, anxiously looking for his girlfriend.
I don't think Jeff Goldblum knows how to play a guy anxiously looking for his girlfriend. Saying he's not a good actor. That's just a little out of his reach.
It reminded me of Tom Cruise's yelling in the Mummy trailer. That everyone memed.
Well, they memed it because fucking Universal. Imagine launching a cinematic universe in your first trailer. You don't upload the full sound mix, just the dialogue. What were they thinking? How did you mess that up? How did they upload the wrong one? It's a billion-dollar entity. How did they screw that up?
Speaking of Universal, I didn't touch on this with Nick Alexander, but probably the Jurassic Park ride is open around this time. You have the full Jurassic Park stuff going. Did you go on that ride?
I don't think so. I think it the original Jurassic Park ride, I think closed before I went to Universal, but it looked cool.
Yeah. I always thought that looked like one of the really cool rides, like up there with like Jaws and E.T., like that kind of vibe. And
hell yeah. No, the Jaws ride is incredible. I have done that one.
Yeah, I never got to do Jaws either. But yeah, going back to the movie, once this other team comes in of people trying to hunt the dinosaurs, the movie just flips. We don't see the main characters for like 15 minutes too once these guys show up. I was kind of in shock like watching it. I'm like, when are we cutting back to Ian Malcolm? I kind of miss him.
Yeah. No, and like that's another thing too. In the first Jurassic Park, there are a lot of characters. It is kind of an ensemble movie. You think about all the times you're cutting back to Wayne Knight, Sam Jackson, and there are these like bit parts, but like they're still memorable, they're still funny. And here you have an entire like additional B plot of characters that the only one that stands out is Vince Vaughn, and the rest are just, you're like waiting for them to die. And they're not giving bad performances. They just feel like they're in a non-Jurassic Park movie.
You have the hunter that's obsessed with killing the T-Rex or something because he's sick of killing other things, I guess. There's a deleted scene where he has like a bar fight with somebody, and it's supposed to show that like, oh, too easy. I could beat up anybody. Like, the T-Rex is just his main op. And I don't... It reminded me of Sam Jackson's character in Kong Skull Island, but way less funny. Like, it's so hilarious that Sam Jackson just has this rivalry with King Kong. While in this movie, it's like, I don't care about this dude. Like, what? And he's supposed to have a tiny redemption arc at the end. Like, who even is this?
That's one thing I will say to this movie's credit, is this does, like, in the same way that Spielberg was making those, like, Indiana Jones movies as, like, a revival of the serials, the adventure serials of the 30s that he, like, grew up, like, watching and, like, liking and all that kind of stuff. And, like, that kind of old school type of movie. This does, like, feel very much like a King Kong movie. This feels, like, more in line with an RKO Pictures monster movie from, like, the 40s than it does a direct link to Jurassic Park.
Especially the third act is straight up King Kong. Like, beat for beat, pretty much. to its better and to its detriment, because I do think the second half of this movie is a lot stronger. I forgot to even bring up Jeff Goldblum, Ian Malcolm's daughter, shows up in this movie. Weird retcon there, because in the first movie he talks about how he has all these kids. Now I guess he just has one daughter. Whatever.
I forgot about him having kids in the first movie. I forget he's like Elon Musk level of father. He's got like 12 kids, all from different women. He's mailing them his ejaculate to impregnate themselves.
And maybe this is just the one daughter out of like 12 kids. Who knows? But this is the only one we ever see.
It's his favorite.
Yeah.
His favorite daughter.
She's we know she's a whiz at gymnastics. Somehow got kicked off the team though.
Yeah, how? Are you kidding me? She's like outrunning dinosaurs and shit.
How do you feel about the trope when the kid of the movie has to sneak or do something? As a kid, I never minded that, but now as an adult, I think I just get annoyed watching it.
Yeah, I really think the kids in the first Jurassic Park movie are like exceptionally good. Like those characters could be annoying and take you away.
For child actors, S tier.
They're really good actors. Yeah, they're very good. And I think Spielberg's one of those directors, too, that's always been really, really competent in getting really good performances out of kids. Until, like, recently, I guess. I guess he somehow lost the touch that he had. But, like, you think of, like, E.T., you've got, like, so many good child performances in that movie. Even Temple of Doom, which isn't a very good movie, Ke-Huy Quan is incredible as Short Round. Like, he's acting opposite to Harrison Ford as a grown-ass man.
Even what's his name in AI? I'm not a big fan of that movie, but not Timothy Oliphant.
No.
Olsen.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah,
Haley Joel.
Is it Olsen?
Yeah, something. I don't know. Do you remember? Yeah, it's Olsen. Did you hear he got arrested?
No.
For public intoxication at a ski resort.
How old is he?
Hammered. Like 40 something.
Oh, okay.
He's like 42.
For some reason I thought he was older, but I didn't know until like this year that his sister is the best friend of Hannah Montana. I never put together that they were related, and now when I see it, I'm like, wow! They literally look like twins now. Like, especially her in like Spy Kids era.
I think there's like 2 or 3 more kids too in that family that were all acting in the early 2000s. I think it was like the Culkins at one point where there was like, oh yeah, there's 3 of them. Just keep throwing them and stuff. But to answer your question, we totally deviated away. I do think the kids in this movie are a little more annoying. Yeah. Like, they're just not as compelling of characters, and the performances aren't given as much to do, and therefore their scenes where they are doing something like sneaking around or trying to hide from the dinosaurs just feel like a rehashed beat that the first movie did really well. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, we gotta have the kids sneaking around. That trope.
And it really is the same structure. At least the second part of the movie is, where they have that big T-Rex scene kind of in your middle movie. That's your big set piece in the middle. I think I had to pause the movie or something. And I was like, man, we have an hour left. And it was right when the 2 T-Rexes show up. I was thinking like, we got like, 20 minutes left. And that I forgot, wait, it's Jurassic Park. So it goes by that. I will say a big positive is still when they do decide to use practical effects, because I do think that baby T-Rex looks awesome. Like, any scene with that baby T-Rex, I think looks great.
And there's the baby Stegosaurus too. That's a really cute scene. Fan favorite dinosaur. I think a couple months ago I watched like every dinosaur in Jurassic Park franchise tier list, and
that's a good video idea.
Like, just shout out him. And that one ranked top 5 on his list. I agreed.
I kind of wish and I love that the baby T-Rex, gets its like, thing at the end with John's son. I want to say nephew.
Yeah.
I don't feel like...
I think it's nephew.
The Hammond family makes no sense, because even when you get into the Jurassic World sequels, there's another random guy that has a different name, but it's not John Hammond, but that's a story for another time.
It's just like the last movie we talked about on this show. He's like he's John Cryer's character. Yeah. He's the weird nephew. What is with our episodes and it always being weird nephew movies?
We're really going after nepotism in these fictional universes.
Specifically nephew nepotism.
But yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier, but things that didn't age well with the effects and stuff, but the practical effects are still good. Another thing that didn't age well, when they're bringing up tourism in San Diego, they brought up the Chargers. Rest in peace.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's tragic.
City of San Diego kind of lost a couple of these things they mentioned, actually. San Diego as a whole hasn't aged well since this movie has come out.
No. San Diego sucks. San Diego's like not a cool city at all. It's like mostly a military base, which I guess like makes sense in the context of this movie.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it is Southern California. There's all these boats and, you know, like it makes sense, but it's like you wouldn't put a dinosaur park there. Not when San Francisco's right there and they can go hang out with the apes from the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, while the T-Rex going on in San Diego, you got Caesar up at the Golden Gate Bridge. But
that's the other thing too, is like San Diego doesn't have like an iconic skyline or any like major landmarks. It's not like one of those cities. It's just like, oh yeah, it's city. It's SoCal City. That's not LA.
The shot of when the T-Rex, you know, does his iconic roar in front of the city, I'm like, this would be a lot cooler if it was, you know, Chicago, New York, Philly, any major city that isn't this.
Hell, Miami would have been cooler.
Yeah. Like, even if you go international, Toronto, Seattle's not international, but Tokyo.
Sure.
I'm trying to... I wish.
My favorite international city.
Another shot I really liked was the when they're going in the grass and they're yelling not to go in the high grass and you see the raptors coming at them. I wish they did more with that. That felt straight out of Jaws. I'd love that.
That is a really cool set piece. That's probably like one of the best scenes in this movie.
Some of the stupidity in this, and that is gonna come into the Ace Awards, but some of the characters do stuff a little too goofy. So this has been a long debate by nerds on the internet. Is the gymnastics thing too stupid?
No.
I don't think it is either. Watching it, like, I kind of like it. It gave some life to this movie.
There's some agency to it. The character, like, it makes sense with the character. Like, at least they find, like, they have, I guess this goes back to the point that I was saying before, but the first movie has all these memorable characters because they have, like, a bit or, like, a thing about their, like, a quirk. And you remember the characters because of their quirks. The characters in this are complaining about cheeseburgers while hanging off the side of a cliff. It doesn't. Who cares?
That felt like
these characters aren't quirky.
Did Ian say Whopper in that? Because the T-Rex later on crashes into a bus that has the Burger King logo. That was the thing too. It felt like they wanted the T-Rex, like, I get the King Kong comparisons, but it also felt like now we could do our set piece in front of logos. It really felt like 90s, 2000s, like, here's your logos. Like, we've entered that era of blockbusters.
I will say, this is definitely a better movie than Godzilla, which I think came out the next year.
Oh, yes, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, yes. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a great episode of this. That'd be a good one.
It's a lot of fish.
That's there's a lot of Simpsons actors in that. I don't know. That is worth a revisit. I think the fake Roger Ebert and Cisco.
Great, I can't wait till I get called back on the show to talk about every Godzilla movie ever made.
What but before we get into the Ace Awards though, is this the worst Jurassic Park movie?
No, absolutely not.
I thought about it. I don't think it is. The first half of that movie was making me think, is this the worst Jurassic Park movie? But I do think it doesn't land the plane per se, but it does pick back up.
I mean, yeah, there's interesting interviews about Spielberg saying he felt like he was on autopilot on this, which is like oddly self-aware and like really on the nose. This does feel like he wanted to make the movie and then started making the movie and was like, nah, I don't really want to make the movie anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the vibe you get watching it. It doesn't feel like he's firing on all cylinders. It feels like this is a B project. Like, this is like, oh yeah, I gotta do that thing. Like, I'm gonna make some money and then I can make Saving Private Ryan. Like, it feels very like transitional for Spielberg, which isn't normally. It's never how he's had to operate. The man's pretty much had a blank check since like what, Close Encounters, Jaws.
Yeah.
Like, even at this point for 20 years, he was a movie every 18 months. Endless amount of money.
When you invent the blockbuster, I guess you should deserve a blank check every time. You truly are like Mr. Movie then.
Yeah, absolutely. He totally is. And I think the reason why this one's not the weakest even Spielberg on autopilot, still one of the best, directors of all time. Like, undisputed.
It's a very mid-Spielberg, but mid-Spielberg is still better than a lot of slosh we get, in modern movies and movies around that time, looking at the list of movies in 97.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, like, is Men in Black better? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Spielberg also produce that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it. There's Godzilla after this, and we get into that weird era. I mentioned it with Nick with the first movie, but, Jurassic Park kind of kickstarts this, CGI event type movie, which I think pretty much did go on until Iron Man 1, and then superhero movies did take over that medium, because, even when you get to around 2008, you were still getting those big, like, CGI fest movies like Michael Bay's Transformers and stuff like that. So for a good more than a decade, this type of movie lasted, and The Lost World to me was just kind of like a little sneak peek into what it's become, where it almost became lazy. Like, the first Transformers, like, for example, probably a good movie, and then you see the Michael Bay-isms in the next movies, and then things start to get a little lazier off the rails. That's just one example, but a lot of franchises do end up there, but it just felt like this happened so fast. Like, it's kind of crazy to me that Lost World is only the second movie. For some people, 3 either went back to form or it made it even worse, depending on who you ask. And this one, it doesn't stick with you. I think, to pull a Jeremy Johns, I think I'm going to forget this movie in T-minus 2 days.
I think Julianne Moore is pretty good in this movie.
Yes.
I think she's really doing a good job as Sarah. Like, she works very well opposite of Goldblum, and I think, like, they have an interesting charm, like, as two characters, because you're like, there's no way these two would be dating. Like, they don't make sense together.
I was thinking that in the beginning of the movie. I'm like, would they really, like, date? Like, I was just thinking, like, God, the sex has to be amazing.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the whole point. They feel like that weird couple at the bar that's like, hey, I like your vibe.
Yeah.
And then they buy you a drink. Like, that's them. They're like the weird swinger couple.
Well, especially, she was on this island for days, right? And she's like, I would have contacted you in a couple of days. So that means regularly they go days, maybe weeks without talking to each other. And then they probably come home, they fool around, and then they're off to their expeditions for another 3 weeks.
Which is fitting why we don't hear about her at all in the first movie.
Yeah, that's true. And, I guess that would play into his character if he supposedly has like 1 million kids with partners, galore. It's so interesting, but I do really like the character, and she does stick out, and I wouldn't have mind seeing her pop up in, future movies if they went that route. Is there a reason why they didn't have Alan Grant and what's her name in this movie? Or were they just so fixated on the Jeff Goldblum-ness of Hollywood at that time?
Are you talking about like Laura Dern and Sam Neill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sam Neill was busy making Event Horizon, which came out a few months after this. And Laura Dern she was probably booked and busy too. Like, in terms of like household name, this was kind of Laura Dern's first movie that wasn't some weird David Lynch shit. Like, and she was really young. She was like 22 in the first Jurassic Park, playing opposite to like 50-year-old Sam Neill. I don't think he was 50. I think he was like 40, but still, like, that's another like couple that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And it works in this universe.
That's a big problem people have with 3 is they're revealed to not be together, but do you really blame them? Like, it's a couple that, like, in real life probably wouldn't have worked either, but of course that's a conversation for another time. Before we get into the official awards, what is your biggest hot take of this movie? Because I do have an interesting one.
My biggest hot take is this is the second best Jurassic Park movie.
Oh, that is a hot take. Okay. Of course, I'm revisiting them right now, but as of right now of this recording, I think my bottom 3 goes like Dominion, Jurassic World, and then this one, but Jurassic World could go down Lost World could go down for me. It depends on... I haven't seen Jurassic World since I saw it in theaters, so I don't know.
That's kind of what you were saying about, like, there's those Michael Bay-isms of cinema, like, like post this era of the original like spectacle blockbuster.
Yeah.
And as much as like Jurassic World, the first one's like an enjoyable movie, it is like a little beat for beat the first Jurassic Park, in the same way that like Force Awakens is just New Hope again. Like,
right.
It hits a lot of the same major beats, but it does it well, and I don't think it's that offensive. I think it's got good action set pieces, but my biggest problem is the lack of characters that I care about. Like,
yeah.
I mean, besides like Chris Pratt being able to talk to velociraptors, like what characters are there? I like the actors just fine. I like Bryce Dallas Howard and I like Vincent D'Onofrio, but like I don't like those characters.
Yeah.
This one at least still has Dr. Hammond. It's still got Ian Malcolm, and I like Julianne Moore, and the gymnastic girl is like fun and funny to me, and certainly not the worst child performance in this franchise.
And Vince Vaughn's there.
Sure.
It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, he doesn't add much to me.
It's just a complete miscast. That role did belong to like a Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick probably would do something like that. Like, especially his Godzilla character is very similar from what I remember. Like, him being that, like, nature guy or environmentalist.
We might get there later, but this would have been a really cool role for 97 McConaughey, too.
That'd be a good one, too.
Because I think Amistad came out in the year after this, which was the Spielberg movie where Matthew McConaughey first played a lawyer. And Anthony Hopkins was playing John Quincy Adams. And, like, they were working together at this time. Like, damn, should have called Matthew McConaughey up instead of Vince Vaughn. I'd like that character a whole lot more.
My hot take award, even though I have it at the worst Jurassic movie, I think Ian Malcolm is more like Ian Malcolm in Dominion than Lost World, because he's back to that supporting character again, and he could just go back to his one-liners and quips. I was kind of nervous going into that movie too. I thought Jeff Goldblum was going to be annoying. I'm not a fan of the, Thor Ragnarok Jeff Goldblum, that he's just this goofy guy, but he really committed to being Ian Malcolm again, surprisingly. While everyone else was kind of just there, right? Star Warsing up that Jurassic movie, but he was Ian Malcolm.
I will say, I think Goldblum is Ian Malcolm more in Wicked than he is than he is in this movie. Like, I don't know. Jeff Goldblum's a good actor, and he's got great movies, like, over the course of his career. I just think this is the role that, like, specifically in the first Jurassic Park, he was like, oh, I can just do this.
Right.
And even though his character's written worse in Fallen Kingdom, I don't, or not Fallen Kingdom, sorry, in
Dominion. He does show up in Final Kingdom.
Dominion.
He has one line. He says, "Life finds a way" at the end.
Fallen Kingdom might low-key be the best Jurassic Park movie. That shit is so over the top.
I'm actually excited to revisit that movie, because that is my second favorite Jurassic movie as of right now. I love Fallen Kingdom, honestly.
It is insane how much of a shark jump that is from the first one. Like, yeah. I'm excited to hear your takes on that episode.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So yeah, I always liked Jeff Goldblum. You could tell Independence Day, really. They pretty much told him in that, we just want you to be Jurassic Park guy again. And he kind of does that in Independence Day and does it in future movies. And this one, I don't know, it just wasn't there for me. Like, he was too busy being the main character straight man. It just didn't work for me at all, and that really took the movie down for me, because I love the Ian Malcolm character in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he feels like the same character and the same person to me, but it is that suspension of disbelief of, like, there's no way he's doing, like, that character specifically is the least likely character to go and put themselves in this situation again.
Yeah.
Like, out of the entire original cast. He didn't really want to be there the first time. Like, it's so ridiculous.
It makes you think
the writing is this movie's biggest crime.
It would make more sense, right, if Laura Dern's character was the one sent to the island and Alan Grant had to go get her. Like, that felt like the original idea for this, if they were thinking about a sequel. I could be totally wrong, I'm just speculating, but that felt like what this plot was.
Yeah, well, one thing that I think we haven't discussed yet, but I think is noteworthy, is, like, this movie was, like, a critical misstep, maybe. Spielberg isn't too proud of it, whatever. but it's not like this movie did bad. This movie had an $80 million budget. It had that you were saying, like, the pop culture and zeitgeist surrounding it with like the arcade machines and the merchandise.
The marketing
for
this is insane.
$240 million advertising campaign for this movie. And it's still, after that giant amount of money behind the movie, still made a healthy profit at the box office. It's made like $600 million. It was the second highest grossing movie of this year.
That really says a lot. And a lot of studios were unfortunately realizing at the time where brands do go a long way. Especially we were really entering that era of sequels and stuff. And man, Jeff Goldblum was a money-making machine. Jurassic Park, Independence Day, and then Jurassic Park again. Like, kind of holy shit. What a run. Yeah, and I mean, it is, box office wise, it is another success for Spielberg. I would love to meet somebody who this is their favorite Jurassic movie. They gotta be out there.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I was doing some research on the train here and like looking at like Letterboxd reviews, because I was curious to see like what like maybe like the temperature on this film was, because like you know, sometimes like a movie just gets like a lot of love like years later, and you're like, oh, the people are really talking about Michael Mann's Heat like it's the best thing ever. Which is fine. It's great. I've got it on DVD right there.
And a lot of movies like this get that Scooby-Doo effect where it might have not worked for people at the time, but you have our Gen Z people like us who love it. But this movie hasn't really hit that yet. Maybe it's a Gen Alpha movie.
Maybe. I don't know. I think that there's definitely got to be people that like love this movie. And I honestly feel like it's most likely that it's somebody who saw this in theaters as a kid. Yeah. Because like you're not going to get an anniversary, you know, see it again in theaters for this movie, because it doesn't have that type of love like the first Jurassic Park does. But I mean, I've seen Jurassic Park, the first one, in theaters twice. Once in 3D and once in like IMAX. So like
I still have to. I was telling Nick on the last episode that's one of my biggest like regrets, is not seeing the first Jurassic Park in a theater yet. I'm sure I'll have opportunities. The way re-releases are becoming more and more successful. Maybe one day, you know, this will. The opening, like, after the Universal logo goes down, it's just like black, and then it's just sounds of dinosaurs. Of course, that has no effect at home, but probably in the theater, that probably gets you amped up. It's like, oh yeah, I'm seeing a Jurassic Park sequel. Like, that probably was hype.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I bet you this movie played really well in theaters. That's why I think if there is like someone who is on the defense of this film, it was probably someone who was like a young teenager at the time when this came out, and was like so excited because their favorite movie was getting a sequel, and then had a great theatrical experience with it. I mean, it was a blockbuster again. Like, I know Spielberg's tried to like low-key bury it compared to some of his other movies, but like, this was the movie of the summer.
It made more money than West Side Story.
Yeah, so did the last YouTube video you posted. At least your YouTube videos don't cost $200 million.
Shockwave Sports actually just got monetized this week. Hopefully Face the Ace could soon. Thank you all for your supports. And speaking of Ace,
let's get that Factor sponsorship.
to stroke my ego even more, it's time for the Ace Awards. I kicked off the award ceremony with this one, the biggest Dino Diva Award. Now, for the first Jurassic Park, the winner went to the T-Rex, of course, the star of that movie.
It's got to.
I might give it the little T-Rex. I think that's what I remember from this movie. Like, before I rewatched it today, when I was thinking of images from Lost World that I remember, it's that little T-Rex when they're, you know, dragging it to the, repairing its broken leg. I really like that scene, and the practical effects in that's awesome. Yeah, I love that it kills the villain at the end. I thought that was actually really rewarding. Yeah, that dinosaur rocks.
Yeah, that lines up for me. I think that's another element about this movie too, is every other Jurassic Park movie has the dinosaur of that movie. And I honestly think low key the Raptors win the first movie. Like the T-Rex are bigger moments.
We talked about that.
The Raptors scared the shit out of me as a kid. And then like in the third one, you've got the pterodactyl scene on the bridge. That shit is terrifying. That's the scariest scene in the whole franchise.
When I was a kid, that scene terrified me. That pterodactyl scene, and I find the Raptors more scary than the T-Rex because, I mentioned this in the first one, but a T-Rex, like, it's just gonna chop my head off. I'm probably not gonna feel it. A raptor's like a chimpanzee attacking you. It's gonna fuck you up before you die. You're gonna feel every amount of pain there. Raptors.
Yeah, and there's a whole little swarm of them, and they're fast as fuck. Like, the T-Rex, they, like, avoid it by, like, standing still and not breathing. Like, they, in the first Jurassic Park, they teach you how to destroy the T-Rex. In the first Jurassic Park, the Velociraptors are the only things destroying.
My favorite bit in these movies, too, is it's a T-Rex, don't move thing. Doesn't work at any time. It's the funniest thing to me. I think they parodied it in Jimmy Neutron. I think that's why I always remember it. Next award is the You Had One Job award. Which human character messed up the most? My pick for this is actually Julianne Moore's character. Had a pretty big stupid moment where she had the blood of the baby T-Rex on her shirt that she wore for the rest of the movie, and it's hanging on that tent. The T-Rex smelled it. Like, really? You like, T-Rex is based off of scent. Should be like paleontology 101. Like, get rid of that jacket.
That's a good point. The writing of this movie is the real fault. It's like they weren't trying. It doesn't have the same, not that the Michael Crichton book is like really all that like heady or high concept. It's very much like an airport novel in a lot of ways. It's not that deep, but the characters and their decisions for the most part make sense with who they are and established as. That being said, I still don't think anyone in this entire universe fucks up more than Dr. Hammond. Like, not changing your shirt is not as big of a crime as doing this shit for a second and third time in one movie 4 years after the last time you did this. And intentionally dragging people into it is so sociopathic. He fucked this up for everybody. Again.
I love when the T-Rex is going into San Diego and Ian goes up to the lawyer there or whatever, is going, now you're John Hammond. Like, he has a reputation of fucking up that much where you could just say his name and you realize you messed up big time. That's a good one, too. We got the Sweetest Moment Award. Best heartwarming or cute moment amid all the chaos. I feel like the first Jurassic Park had more things to choose from, for this one. I think the stuff with Ian and his daughter is fine. The gymnastics thing, I like that it ends with Ian going, they kicked you off the team. Like, that's a cute little joke. Very Spielberg.
Yeah.
Man, that's really what I could think of. And the stuff with the T-Rex and the T-Rex's
I think that's another point to the baby T-Rex there. I mean, it's cute, and it's like, it's nice to see that, like, despite all the humans in this movie that want to kill dinosaurs, the ones that want to save them, it's something that they try to do way more with whatever the hell Chris Pratt's character name is in the Jurassic
Blue
World
the Raptor.
And Claire, and like her whole thing is
the clone,
like Dino Aid. Yeah, I feel like this specific scene with the baby T-Rex does it better than later attempts to have these characters that humanize and are one with the dinosaurs that are like coexisting.
The Smartest Move Award. Who actually made the best decisions for survival? That guy, he died like 5 minutes later, but the guy with his idea of having that cage thing go all the way up, that never got torn down. I thought they were setting up for the T-Rex to destroy it. It never did. If Ian stayed up there with their daughter, they would have been fine.
Yeah.
It's probably that guy, even though he died.
It could be the daughter with her sick gymnastic skills.
That's true, too. She did all that walking across that whole island with,
yeah. There's a lot of bad decisions in this movie, so to point out someone who made good decisions is really hard. Oh wait, it could be the San Diego sports team that left San Diego.
That's true.
They might have been the one making the best decision. They're like, well, the Chargers, man, we're prone to dino attacks. We gotta move it to Vegas.
The Make It a Video Game Award. What scene would make the best video game level? I think in the first one we did the Jeep chase where the T-Rex is chasing you. That'd be a fun level in a video game. For this one, I mean, if you're the T-Rex just wreaking havoc in San Diego, that sounds fun. Reminds me of that one Hulk game where you could just go and destroy the city.
I'm picking the wheat field one with the raptor.
Good stealth game.
Yeah,
that could be fun too.
I think you're playing as a human, like a survival horror, trying to get through the maze without getting eaten by a velociraptor.
Dead by Daylight, but it's raptors sounds more terrifying than that game.
That sounds like Battlefront with the Ewoks.
Yeah, this is Ewok Hunt.
Ewok Hunt was terrifying. This shit was a survival horror game.
And shout out to our boy Bill, the most rewatchable scene award. The moment you want to rewind again and again. This is the Jurassic Park movie I least watch. So this is a hard one, actually. What would I mean, the gymnastics scene is really funny.
It's pretty sick. It's dumb as hell, but it's pretty sick.
And the fact that they show the raptor getting like cut with the nail there, or the giant spike getting stabbed, is sick. A kind of a gruesome scene I just saw a little girl kick a dinosaur.
I think another element of this that we haven't mentioned yet, but the soundtrack still kicks ass.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that whole opening sequence with the British family is pretty rewatchable. I know you were saying it's like a weird way to start things off, but
it's what I remember though.
The black screen with the dino noises, you've got the fucking family getting murked, and then you're in Jurassic Park again. When
I was trying to think of scenes that I remember when I was a kid, that's the one scene from Lost World I do remember seeing. Yeah, that's a good one. I did really
the cliff scene too. I know I was shitting on it earlier, but that's a pretty decent sequence. That's about on par with the dino Jeep chase in the first one.
The reveal of the two T-Rexes is really solid. It makes sense. Sequel, gotta do two of things. And is it like a mother and a father? I guess. But wait, they're all female. Hey, it's Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Lesbian dinosaur couple taking care of a kid. That's great. I think that's awesome.
That's a Pridosaurus, thank you.
Yeah, man, even at the end of the movie when they're playing that Jurassic Park scene and John Hammond's doing the voiceover, you still get that warm fuzzy feelings of, it's the Jurassic Park franchise. I said it on the episode before. It's a movie and a franchise I do like to revisit during the summer. It's just it's such an easy watch, a lot of these movies. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I don't know if I'll have you on again, but just in case I don't, are you looking forward to the new one at all? Are you even going to see it? Like, do you have any thoughts on it?
I completely forgot it existed until we started talking. Will I see it? I don't know.
Scarlett Johansson looks very hot in this movie. I just want to point she looks great.
It's 15 years of us saying this every time she's in a movie. Like, I mean, I just don't know if that's a selling point for me anymore, okay? One, I don't know how she hasn't aged at all, but I have, and I've aged out of Scarlett Johansson.
It looks like a Jurassic Park movie. I'm still waiting for that one thing that will really, grab my attention. Like most of the movies usually do.
I think the thing about it that I've seen that looks the most promising is it's going back to its like adventure roots, and it's not trying to do this thing which I think the Jurassic World movies became a snake trying to eat their own tail at a certain point, where like they made it something big like a Star Wars or a Marvel, and they're like, yeah, Jeff Goldblum's back, Sam Neill's back again, Laura Dern's here.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't care. Like, as much as those characters are fun and they're great in the first movie, you bring them back and it doesn't make the movie good. This movie's a prime example. This movie might have been better if there were none of the original characters, except Dr. Hammond.
That's why Jurassic World, the first one, works for a lot of people, because it is new characters that are likable. Hopefully this one could do it better, though. Hopefully they've learned from mistakes and have iconic characters. I mean, they pick good actors. Of course, Scarlett Johansson, like, she's great. And I think the doctor is the guy from Wicked, the prince guy. He's really talented. I've seen him in other stuff. His name is the same name as the doctor from Halloween.
Loomis?
Yeah, his name is Dr. Loomis. And I'm like, was that on purpose? Like, what is the connection there?
That's bizarre.
Which it's making me think, I'm like, is this gonna be a slasher movie? Like, is that how it's gonna be framed? Like, that'd be cool. There's one scene with the boats that looked like a really cool shot. It looked straight out of Jaws. You know, there's promising things there, but there's not that one big thing. Like the Jurassic World marketing, they wouldn't show you what that new dinosaur was, and you're like, kind of like, okay, what's this all about? They all these movies had something, and maybe that's why Lost World is kind of lost to time, because it doesn't have that thing. It's just like, it's a sequel.
It doesn't have that big iconic dinosaur moment, which
yeah,
I think is probably a little weak. I guess the biggest iconography like moment of this would probably be when the T-Rex is in San Diego, but I mean, it's about as forgettable as San Diego.
The two T-Rexes thing, it was a cool reveal. Should have been a bigger deal in the wide range of it. That, like, you should make that the logo. Like, you have the T-Rex and the Jurassic Park logo. Do the two T-Rexes. Like, that should have been part of your marketing.
And they should be kissing, too.
Yeah, just like...
Because they're moms.
And it's the logo's rainbow. Happy Pride.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
I think another thing too is like this this style of movie, it being kind of more of like an RKO Pictures like monster movie instead of you know, what we've come to expect from the Jurassic Park franchise, I think is interesting. And I think if they were to take any notes from this moving forward with the Jurassic Park franchise, it's, you can have funny moments and quirky characters and still have the plot of the story like be important. And like a prime example of this, in my opinion, is Kong Skull Island.
Yes.
I mean, like, that is a very like funny, laugh out loud movie. It's got a bunch of dumb, silly characters and quips and moments. But at the end of the day, you want the heroes. You want Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson and John C. Reilly to get out of that situation. Like, you want them to win. And that's something that I just don't think that this movie had like the balance of. And I think in the best case scenario, that's what this new one could be. Is just a fun adventure movie.
I have a video idea of best dinosaur movies that isn't Jurassic Park, and that one popped in my head was Kong Skull Island, even though it's not necessarily the dinosaurs is the reason, but it's good enough where I'm like, yeah, that's just a really good movie where people go to an island, and it proves you could still do it. And that is what I'm hoping with the new one. Like, you could still make these movies fun. Like, I understand if you have the Jurassic IP, might as well use the IP, but still, don't Star Wars Jurassic Park. It was never supposed to be that. And that's really where Dominion goes wrong with it.
If you're gonna make one that's like really, really silly, like, make it it's Universal. Make it a takedown of Disney. Like, double down on the Hammond being a Disney archetype and make it, hear me out, ready? Jurassic Cruise.
No,
you're on a cruise ship and there's fucking dinosaurs.
We're speed 2ing
Fuck
the ship.
you, Disney. There you go. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Willem Dafoe is there.
Yeah, I think you asked me this during Superman. What are you giving this movie on Letterboxd if you haven't yet?
I think this one currently sits at a 2.5, but I think after rewatching it, I might bump it up more to like a 3.5. Like, the stuff I remember not liking about this movie when I was a kid don't really bother me that much. The biggest problems I have with it now are just like the writing is so shallow compared to the original. But I don't know. I would rather watch this than most movies. Like, it's not boring.
Especially compared to blockbusters today, yeah. Yeah, on the scale of Jurassic Park movies, I think I give it 2.5, but if you did compare it to other blockbusters we've had recently, I hope we get more movies.
Are you watching this or 65 with Adam Driver?
Yeah, that was on the list of
this again.
Dinosaur movies, and I'm like, oh.
Are you watching Jurassic Park 2, or are you watching The Meg?
I don't know, The Meg, but yeah, man, we did well. We took down another sequel. We're the sequel bros now, it seems. And yeah, man, thank you for joining me again. Love to have you on again very soon. And wish me luck on my journey, because it's gonna get weird now with the rest of these sequels.
Yeah, I mean, have fun with Fallen Kingdom. Really enjoy that one.
Yeah. It's truly gonna be a roller coaster. And then God, I finished it with Dominion. So this next movie's got to be better than Dominion. It's got to be. But
Jurassic World Dominoes. You're ordering Dominoes.
But with that being said, thank you, Nate, once again on this edition of the Ace2Face podcast. And I will see you all in the next podcast. Still don't have an outro.